Okay, let's jump straight in today. We're looking at some pretty significant breaking news.
Yeah, the announcement about former President Joe Biden.
Exactly. He's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer, and the concerning part is that it's spread, metastasized to the bone.
That's right. And the news, it definitely landed with quite an impact. The reactions came pretty thick and fast.
They really did. I
Yeah.
mean, almost immediately after the announcement on Sunday, the support started pouring in.
Mm-hmm.
And what struck me was the sheer range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, King Charles, President Trump, former President Obama, former VP Harris, all sending well wishes.
It's quite something.
Mr. Biden himself pointed out, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Said it's a reminder that cancer touches us all.
It kind of shows how something like this, a serious health diagnosis, it can, well, transcend the usual political stuff.
It really can. There's a sort of shared humanity that often comes out in these moments. And the timeline is worth noting, too.
Right. The diagnosis itself was apparently made on Friday after he reported some urinary symptoms. Correct. And then the public disclosure just 2 days later on Sunday. Very quick turnaround.
So our aim here today is to really get to grips with the key details of this announcement. Understand the immediate reactions, and maybe unpack some of the questions that are inevitably popping up.
And we're drawing mainly from the news reports that have come out and, of course, the official statement from Mr. Biden's office.
Okay, so let's start with the diagnosis itself. The phrasing was specific. Aggressive form of prostate cancer, and crucially, spread to his bones. Metastasis. What does that actually tell us?
Well, metastasis is the really key term there. It means the cancer isn't just in the prostate anymore. It's moved, set up shop elsewhere in the body. In this case, the bones.
Okay.
The statement also gave a Gleason score, a 9. That puts it in what's called grade group 5.
A Gleason score 9. Grade group 5. What does that practically mean? For someone who doesn't, deal with medical jargon every day.
So, think of it like this. Pathologists look at the cancer cells under a microscope. They're looking at how different the cancer cells look compared to normal, healthy prostate cells and how they're arranged.
Okay.
The Gleason system gives 2 scores based on the most common patterns they see and then adds them together. A higher total score, like 9, means the cells look very abnormal.
Right. Abnormal means more dangerous.
Generally, yes. It suggests they're likely to grow and spread more quickly. Cancer Research UK, for instance, calls this high-grade cancer. It signals a greater potential for, well, aggressive behavior.
And we know it has spread in this case.
Exactly. The score sort of reflects that potential, and metastasis confirms it happened.
Got it. That definitely paints a clearer, if more serious picture. But there was another detail in the statement, wasn't there? That the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, and this allows for effective management. That sounds hopeful, or at least significant.
Oh, it's very significant. Many prostate cancer cells, they kind of feed on hormones, especially testosterone, to grow. So when a cancer is hormone sensitive, it means treatments that lower testosterone levels or block the hormones from reaching the cancer cells can be really effective.
Effective how? Like slowing it down?
Exactly. Slowing down its progression. It might not be a cure, especially with metastasis, but it's a major tool for managing the disease, potentially controlling it for, a significant period. It's like cutting off the fuel line.
Okay, that makes sense. And the statement said the family is now looking at treatment options based on that.
Yes, they're reviewing the options now. That hormone sensitivity is likely a key factor in those discussions.
Okay. Let's shift gears slightly to the reactions. As we mentioned, the support was really quick and very broad.
Yeah, quite striking.
You had the messages from President Trump and Melania, pretty prompt, and then strong support from former President Obama, former Vice President Harris, too.
It's interesting, isn't it, why these moments tend to bring out that kind of response, even across deep political divides.
Maybe just that shared vulnerability. Or maybe a sense of decorum around serious illness.
Could be both. And the private letter from King Charles is noteworthy, too, especially given, his own recent cancer diagnosis earlier in 2024.
Good point. There's a shared experience there.
Definitely. It suggests a kind of personal understanding, perhaps. And remember, Mr. Biden had expressed concern for the king back when his diagnosis was announced. So there might be a bit of personal rapport there as well.
Yeah, that connection adds another layer. But okay, alongside all this support, it wasn't long before some pretty pointed questions started being asked.
Naturally.
Particularly about the timeline. The immediate question becomes, could this have been developing for a while? Was it potentially affecting him while he was still in office?
Those are, I think, understandable questions, especially when you're talking about the health of someone who held the presidency. The scrutiny is always intense.
And Vice President J.D. Vance weighed in on this, didn't he?
He did. While offering well wishes, he also directly questioned the transparency around Mr. Biden's health during his time in office.
He suggested Biden wasn't really capable, is that right?
He did suggest that, yes. Though, interestingly, he seemed to put more blame on the people around Biden, suggesting maybe they weren't being fully open. It raises broader questions, doesn't it, about the responsibility of aides and staff regarding health disclosures.
Absolutely. And the timing of this whole thing is, well, it's certainly noticeable. There's a book coming out soon, right?
That's right. Original Sin, President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again.
The timing, yeah, it definitely adds another dimension to the conversation.
And what are the claims in this book, reportedly?
Well, according to reports about the book, it's not out yet. We should stress it alleges Mr. Biden had some more significant health issues or cognitive moments that weren't public.
Like what?
Things like allegedly not recognizing George Clooney at an event, and apparently discussions among aides about whether he might need to use a wheelchair at some point.
Wow. Okay, but again, these are claims in an upcoming book. Precisely. Need to be treated with caution until verified. But they do tap into those pre-existing concerns some people had voiced about his health and age. Remember, he did pull out of the 2024 race, citing health and age almost a year ago now.
So you've got this new serious diagnosis laid out publicly. You've got these existing questions about his health during his presidency, and now these specific, quite stark allegations emerging from this book. It's a complex mix for people to sort through.
It really is. And then you have the current White House responding to all this.
Right. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had comments, particularly on that idea that maybe Biden's diagnosis could or should have been caught earlier.
Yes, and her response was interesting. She emphasized President Trump's confidence in the current White House medical team, even with this news about his predecessor.
Sort of a we trust our doctors message.
Exactly. And she also made a point of stating that President Trump himself had, quote, perfect results on his recent physical, said he's in very good shape.
And she mentioned his stamina on the Middle East trip.
She did, yeah. Pointed to that as sort of evidence of his fitness. It's almost standard procedure now, isn't it? When one leader's health is questioned, there's often a move to reassure about the current leader's health.
It really highlights that constant focus, the comparisons around presidential health. It's always there.
Always. Ms. Leavitt also mentioned, by the way, that President Trump hasn't spoken directly to Mr. Biden since the news broke, but that he would be open to it.
So the White House is basically projecting confidence in their medical team and the current president's health.
Seems to be the core message, yes. Continued trust in their assessments.
Okay, so let's try and pull the threads together here. We have former President Biden diagnosed with aggressive metastatic prostate cancer. That's the hard news.
But also, crucially, it's hormone sensitive, which offers a path for management.
Right. Then we have this wave of bipartisan, even international support.
Contrasted with these resurfacing questions about the timeline, his health while in office, amplified by this upcoming book's claims.
And finally, the current White House response, emphasizing trust in their own medical oversight and President Trump's fitness.
That pretty much covers the main angles we're seeing develop right now.
It really does. And, thinking about all this, it leaves us with a pretty fundamental question to chew on, doesn't it? We see this intense public scrutiny, this fascination, really, with the health of presidents, past and present.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the ethics here? How do you balance transparency, the public's right, or maybe perceived right, to know about the health and capacity of their leaders with an individual's fundamental right to privacy about their own health?
Especially when, let's be honest, any information released can be interpreted in so many different ways. And the political implications, they're huge.
Exactly. Where do you draw that line between personal health privacy and the public interest, particularly when things get politicized so quickly? Some for all of us, I think, to consider.